So we got 30 minutes with you guys. I don't know if that's enough time, Jennifer.
So I get that automatic thing that says it's on. So you guys can see it.
Oh,
So it's
cool.
a little
Pretty
delayed.
cool.
Is that right?
That's it there. We're live?
Well, that's what I just got a
On
notification.
YouTube. Yeah, okay. You ready, Scott?
Give me 20 more seconds. The periscopes are being funny.
Okay.
So we're probably live right now.
Yeah, well, hello, folks. We're not that good at this yet. This is our third time doing this. So if you're watching right now, thank you for watching. But we're going to start in a minute or so.
And we can't talk at all before.
No talking before. All that stuff.
One-
So you just got to listen to blank air out there, folks. I'll tell you, shush, call again, take it easy.
All right, 1 minute. I gotta tell your dad you're live. He wants to watch.
Okay, well, we're going to go. Are we good to go now, Scott? Okay.
Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live, Greg.
We are
Wow.
at the IES convention.
And we're going to start this off with a little bit of gratitude. The man that just walked in and checked on us right there. Thanks, Tom Butters, Tim Licitra, everyone at the IES for making this happen.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, isn't it such a wonderful time to be alive, though, with this kind of technology?
That's terrific.
Isn't
First
it?
time we're doing it.
Isn't it great? And also, I'd like to thank everybody at Nailed and that's supported us over the years, Greg.
Mhm.
Of course, the IES for inviting us. And then we're going to go to our sponsor. Thanks to Kurtzon Lighting. You go to KURTZON.com for specification grade, Greg.
Yeah, they have really unique fixtures in medical, clean room, behavior health, wet location. They even have a vivarium fixture.
Did you say that right?
I had to look that up.
Yeah, is that right?
That's for plant and animals, I believe, if I said it right. But the other unique thing is that everything is tunable white. So 27 Kelvin to 65, all of their fixtures.
You know, I mean, you got to love a company like Kurtzon, made in America, over 100 years old, almost as old as Canada.
Yeah.
And specification grade. You know, it's one of those companies that is really a leader in the lighting business. And we thank you, Kurtzon, for supporting this live stream. Go to KURTZON.com, baby. That's KurtzonLighting.com. We'd like to welcome Tim Licitra, Jennifer Jaques. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
You know, Tim, we already interviewed you.
You did?
So I just want to dive right into Jennifer Jaques. Tell us a little, who is Jennifer Jaques? How did you get to this place?
Jennifer Jaques joined IES.
Jaques, sorry.
It's okay.
You know how many people told me that? You know how many people told me that? It's Jaques, buddy. It's
I answer to every iteration,
Okay.
so it's perfectly
Jennifer Jaques, folks, president of the IES.
joined IES in 1995. I really didn't become active until about 2000.
Okay.
And started at the section level and volunteered, helped wherever I could. And we just keep going.
Yeah. Are you a lighting designer?
I call myself a lighting consultant.
Okay.
My small independent company doesn't do some things that a lighting designer does. So we're more behind the scenes support, making everybody else look good.
Okay.
Where is your company, or what is your company?
We're located in San Marcos, Texas, about halfway between Austin and San Antonio.
So you have a real job in addition to this IES
Yes.
president.
Well, most people do. Are presidents now.
So what are your duties as the IES president, or what is the term? I know a little bit, but maybe others don't.
So the IES does a VP president-elect. So you're selected by full membership for a VP president-elect position, which means you're a VP for 1 year.
Mhm.
You're president-elect for 1 year, and then you have a 1 year past president that you also serve. It's a 3-year commitment to do this. We have bylaws that we follow. Our duties as president is to make sure the board is functioning within the bylaws, constructive, thinking strategically. We're working cohesively as a group for the betterment of the society.
You know, there's two things I could go with this. The first one is the lighting industry is and I don't know if every industry is like this, but when we started this podcast, we just keep encountering people that just love this industry so much and do so much to serve it. It's really mind blowing to me, Tim, how many people are really passionate about lighting but passionate about serving the industry as a whole. Have you noticed that as well? You've only been in lighting, 3 or 4 years now?
About 4 years now, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it makes working in an organization like this enjoyable, where we have some 90 sections all run by volunteers.
Sure.
And some 80 or 90 technical committees and non-technical committees, all run by volunteers. It's the lifeblood of the organization, what makes everything run.
I would say it's its best and worst quality. You know, it's like if volunteerism is so great in some senses, but in other areas it presents challenges. And in a time of change, Jennifer, how are you looking at the volunteers? Are you thinking about expanding maybe some full-time employees to tackle the IoT and the health effects issue? Like, where are you guys going with that?
Well, it's interesting you asked that. We're working on a new 5-year strategic plan right now. And that was one of the things that was my responsibility coming in as VP, is to start that conversation. We do this every 5 years. And so we're looking at what are our long-term goals, what are our foci that we want to talk about, right? Where do we want to be 5 years and even further out than that? So we are having all sorts of conversations. Is it staffing? Is it volunteerism? Is it onboarding? Is it training? Is it changing the shape of committees, adding committees, moving committees? It's kind of all on the table because we want to make it the best that we can make it. And we want to make sure that it stays relevant as our industry is changing.
And to your point too, what we've done is we've added staff and strategically in positions to help the volunteers and to help the committees and to help the sections.
There's just so much going on right now. It's like to get a grip of. I hate to throw that out there, Greg, but there's so much going on right now in the lighting business, and I think it almost seems like there was like this convulsive, tumultuous change from 2013 to 2017, something like that, and then everything started to settle down a little bit. We lost some companies. A lot of friends are gone from the business now, actually, to be honest. From the nailed distributor contractor level up through the major manufacturers level, there's all sorts of mergers, acquisitions, abandonment of industries. But there's this sense now that the IES is, and I don't mean to say this, is back, but it's like, it feels to me like the IES is really ready to take command of this IoT, these healthcare stuff, and it takes time to get a handle on this stuff. What are you guys doing specifically with IoT? Jennifer, Tim, whoever wants to grab that.
Well, we have technical committees that are dedicated to those topics. And as Tim said, they're volunteers, and they're super smart volunteers, very dedicated volunteers. They are the passion, they are the energy. And we are a research-based, consensus, science-based organization. We do have engineer in our name, so we do have that mentality. So we have our committees that are working on that, and we, staff and board, make sure that our committees are still moving forward, still having those conversations, bringing in knowledge and insights that maybe aren't on the committee, but we recognize we need to have that voice to make sure we stay relevant, and to build those consensus documents that help support the cause, and recognize too when IoT may still be evolving, we're still doing research, we're still learning, how do we continue having those conversations and continue growing so we all become smarter within this IoT environment.
And from a staffing perspective, as it relates to IoT or some of those other topics, with the investments made in education at IES, as an example, to build out content that supports what's coming from the technical documents, as well as topics that might not be in the technical area of focus from a publication standpoint, but is relevant to the industry today, so we can disseminate information, whether it supports a publication or it's standalone. We also have through staff and volunteers that act as our advocates at, maybe it's a conference around IoT or a specific topic matter, to be there to represent the organization and represent the industry.
How do you look at it from like you came into this, I can't remember off the top of my head, but you were obviously in a completely different field, managing an association. What was that field?
Yeah, the financial industry.
Financial. So you come into this as looking at it from a business perspective. You look at it. What do you see when you first come in here and you look at it? It's such in some ways wonderful, but in other ways there's so many different angles to go.
Well, I had no clue, right? Lighting engineering. But it's a technology industry, right? That's maybe that's not what it was, but that's what it is today. So it looks like it's a wide open field to attract new members, to have an impact on not just lighting, but everything that lighting touches. And it's a lot of fun, honestly. So, and from a business standpoint, it allows the freedom when working with a diverse board of directors that are dedicated to making change. It's a lot of fun working with that different mindsets, and figuring out how we can excel, how we can grow, and have that impact again on everything that lighting touches.
There's so many different people in the lighting industry, you know, in terms of who the end user is and how they get the product, and designers and distributors and contractors. And I think what your big challenge is that you have that engineering name, and I think people think it's only that, but what I'm starting to see, at least from being at this, is that you're bringing people together. And that's what it's about, bringing the whole lighting community together, everybody that's involved.
And no matter where they're located.
Yes.
We've got members in over 65 different countries.
That's awesome.
And we've had meetings here with other global organizations, whether they're representatives from Australia, New Zealand, Japan, India, Israel, and then what you saw last night at the Illumination Awards, where we had 1/3 of those that submitted for the awards were from outside of North America. And I believe more than half of the award winners were from outside of North America as well.
So we're at your annual convention now. Are you ever going to move it outside of North America?
We'll see.
Well, I don't know.
You know what? I'll say that's tough
because
non-Americans are very used to carrying a passport, and there's a lot of Americans that just don't have a passport, and a lot of them don't like to to go to a 3-day convention. They have to get their passport or they have to travel. I would say that that would be tougher than you initially think it is.
Well, especially we're working to collaborate with other organizations, so we wouldn't want to move our annual conference to an area where it's viewed as competition. But if we were to do something, it would be collaborative with somebody.
Yeah, I'd rather have the conversations that we grow and build something together that's unique for both of our organizations or societies. I think that is more valuable in the long run than to move this experience around.
How many years have you guys done the convention now? Do you know offhand?
The first one was, the first annual meeting was in 1907 was the first annual meeting.
So whatever that math is. Huh?
So it's been a while. I don't actually know the date of the first conference.
Okay.
But for the Illumination Awards, it was the 49th anniversary last night of the Illumination Awards.
So this organization has very, very deep roots. But have you guys, and I'm going to change a little gears here, and just a topic that fascinates me in general, but have you guys, you said Japan, you said Germany, you said some other countries there. Have you guys spoken to anyone in China?
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a society or is there an organization in China that is similar to the IES?
My understanding is there is China IES.
Okay.
I believe their membership is around actually 50 or 60,000. But
everything in China is huge. Right? It's like
and so we've met representatives from them when we were at the CIE Quadrennial earlier this year. We've had conversations. They had individuals that were at our annual conference actually receiving an award last year through the Illumination Awards. So we've had an ongoing dialogue with them about collaboration and what can happen. We haven't had an opportunity to sit and meet with them face to face, but there's an ongoing dialogue with what we can do together.
It'd be interesting to see what the standards and the metrics, like if China comes out with its own color metric. That would be very interesting to see because a lot of the stuff is manufactured in China. And on that note, where are we at with I know when I interviewed Tom, I guess it would be over a year and a half ago, he was talking about CRI, he was talking about color and measuring it in a different way. Where's the committee at with that?
Great question.
We are actually going to do one here in a couple hours.
I was looking at the agenda this morning. And I thought that was on there.
So we actually have an experience room to talk about color for the TM30 and expand. The committee is having ongoing conversations. We're looking at, now that we have the document on color, how do we begin to apply that? How do we begin to explain the proper use of that document so that there's not misinterpretation and confusion caused by it? So from what I've heard from committee members, that's kind of where they view the next step in this, is we have this document, it's an evolution. How do we disseminate that information to be used well across applications? It's
one of those metrics like CRI. Can we actually get away from CRI? It's so sticky and hard. You know what I mean?
So with the change of the industry, I don't know. Well, it's to be determined. But so your convention here, what other things are going on? I know we're here, but you can kind of share with the people that are out there.
Here. This is the great part. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, we have an event this evening at Churchill Downs.
Yep.
So we are going off-site to experience the heart of Louisville at Churchill Downs. So we're very excited about that. We have a reception and a tabletop experience. The EPs have emerging professionals. Megan Carroll, our conference chairwoman, has also coined the phrase experienced professionals, could fall into that. But for our emerging professionals, and those are the folks who have been in the industry for less than 5 years. This doesn't have to be their first career. This could be their second or their third career.
So it's not an age-based metric.
It's not an age-based metric. They have off-site opportunities to network amongst their group. And so we have lots of things going on. If you look at the schedule, it's hard to pick. There's like overlapping events, great experience rooms. The EPs had a great day yesterday. We had the leadership forum, which helps builds the knowledge base of our sections and builds that communication between our sections and our districts and our regions. So it's the first 2 days of our conference, while not officially launched, business meetings, improving our knowledge base, improving our society, and then we launch into all these great content seminars that we have. So it's going to be a full few days.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, coming to the IES conference is not a bad idea for you next year. Actually, if you're in the lighting
Definitely
business,
be here.
oh come on, like that was a full room. That's a big room of people there, and it could be double the size very easily. And I think it should be. What's interesting about doing this podcast, Greg, and traveling to all these events. The problem with this, it's as wonderful it is to sit down and have conversations with people and record them, and now live stream them and that. One of the things is we don't get to attend a lot of events.
We miss out.
We're constantly like,
Get on the fringes.
Yeah.
But on that point, how awesome was Neil Harvison's talk?
It was great. It was really good. I have a staff member who has met him previously, and she was so excited. She goes, "You get to listen to Neil talk. Oh, I love Neil." So shout out to the staff who suggested I have Neil come in there. So it was a great session, and I think the keynote with Naomi this morning was also good. A very honest conversation, and that's really what it was. It was a wonderful conversation about one person's experience, coming into the U.S. and growing up, and their perceptions and how they've adapted and matured and entered the lighting industry through a non-traditional path, which a lot of us have. And so I think that was really
that's
nice.
been kind of the ongoing theme while here, which is how people experience light, right? So you saw that with Neil and his presentation. You see that with the demo rooms that we have, trying to build something for everyone if we can. But it's all based on experience.
Yeah, Tom's so excited about those demo rooms, and we're going right after this to go look at them for sure.
Excellent.
I mean, we have to structure some things and make sure this is working for the people out there first. But now that we're, I don't know if you've ever seen like really good speakers talk, or when an audience is really engaged. When Neil did that sound of color thing,
it was
the whole room went completely quiet.
very powerful.
Yeah.
Like when you're just sitting there and everyone's just completely focused on that, and then it's going from yellow to green, and he's like, that's an F sharp or whatever, and it's like, holy macaroni.
So for the people that aren't here, Neil Harvison is a cyborg.
He's a cyborg
that has an antenna out of his head to help him see color.
Yeah, and
hear color.
Hear color.
Scott's throwing up pictures for the YouTube watch right now of Neil Harvison. While we're talking about him, he's putting up things. But when he did that, I was like, there literally what he's talking about is light is fundamentally, and I was talking to Dr. Jennifer Veach about this, and you're talking about the experience. In a way, light to humans is like water to fish. And I feel like right now we're just becoming aware of light and what it is. And you see like a guy like Neil Harvison, and he's like, oh yeah, I can see ultraviolet light. And I watch that cat. The cat's actually not being stupid. It's playing with the artificial light, ultraviolet light in the corner. Right. It's like, whoa, there's a whole universe that we're not able to perceive as, like we humans are not able to perceive. You saw that little spectrum he had in the middle of what we can see and how big the actual spectrum is. And that was really mind-blowing, and it's all light.
And you mentioned universe, and he talks about connecting to the space station.
Definitely.
And light
and
in
the
outer
footprints
space.
and the vibrations. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And when we went to the Li-Fi convention, the whole idea of Li-Fi, and that, these are Li-Fi receptors actually, in a sense. Your eyes are being Li-Fi receptors. I mean, it's really fascinating. And so in the lighting business, if you're out there, like I said, coming to these places and meeting people and watching these events and experiencing the room is a good thing for you.
For sure. Now you guys have the annual convention. What else do you do on an ongoing basis and for training throughout the year?
In about a month and a half, we have the Street and Area Lighting Conference, where we'll have about 1,200 individuals that usually meet. We'll be
That's
in
so
San Diego
important,
this
by
year.
the way.
It
That
is.
right now, the timing of that is really important.
It's a totally different crowd than what you have here at the annual
Very
conference.
different crowd.
I think you time it right too, because that's when it's daylight savings, and when we get the calls about their lights are out. We start like September, October. People are like, "Hey, man, my lights are out."
No, we think it's hilarious because all of a sudden after they switched it from October to November, the switching of daylight savings time.
Oh, okay, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Sure.
so it's like, but you can call it as soon as it goes, that hour is taken back, which is my favorite day of the year, by the way. My favorite day of the year is fall back because
Okay.
everyone's got an hour of extra sleep. Everyone's on time. Everyone comes in on time. They're fresh, right? But then the phones start ringing because all the people with the burned out lights on their buildings and in their parking lots call. But yeah, so what other events? You have the annual.
We have the annual
Is that an annual one? The
The Street and Area is annual.
Yeah.
Every other year we do a research symposium. So we're in the process of planning that for 2020. And then, of course, Light Fair, which we are a partner of.
Yeah, we always forget that IES Light Fair is kind of an
The
IES
main
event
thing,
too,
yes.
as well.
Absolutely.
Tell us me a little bit about how people can become members of the IES. So let's say you're out there and someone's listening to this and they're like, wow, I'd like to join, but what different membership categories do we have?
We span from reaching to students and then emerging professionals, which are newer to the industry, all the way up to fellow and emeritus. So we do have requirements of transitioning from regular associate grade membership to member grade. And there are some minor adjustments in benefits and services that those individuals receive. But our organization is open to anybody that wants to join us and learn about lighting.
So so anyone can be an associate member.
Correct.
And what about companies?
We do have corporate or sustaining membership categories. We're currently, with the changes that we're making to how we deliver the lighting library, which was the giant handbook and all of the hard documents, and how we're putting that online in a new system to
What, did they really measure it by weight? Was it Randy
That's
that
before
told
my
me
time.
they used to weigh it?
To make sure it weighed enough. I don't know. I use it.
I don't know if there was a minimum weight required. I didn't hear that.
This big book like this. Yeah.
So we're going to be rebuilding our sustaining membership packages for companies built around access to the content.
You know, if someone's a student, I would tell a student to join this organization immediately.
Well, and so along the same lines of corporate membership, we're working with Tom as well from the education standpoint, and Brianne Wilcock, our new education coordinator, on the creation of a college and university program to allow access to our educational material and to the publications to students through the university. So that individual students might not necessarily have to join directly, but the college can support the whole course.
So they can actually be at their college, pay the fee to their college, stay at the college, and then do the IES training.
Hopefully, if the college would
Right.
support it, both the professor as well as the students would have access to the material. Something we're working on.
Why are there no, maybe I'm wrong, I've asked you, why are there no lighting engineers? Like, you hear about electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. You know, is there, first of all, am I wrong about that? And second of all, why not?
Well, it's an interesting question you ask. So when the founders started having a conversation about a society, they felt it was very important to keep the word engineering in our society. And looking at what was happening in 1905, that was a recognized profession, right? And so they got together a group of people to talk about those who are interested in light and the distribution of light. And that's actually in the invitation that was sent out to those invited to that initial meeting of people to see if there was interest in this. And there was a lot of discussion about the value and importance of keeping the word engineering in our name. And in fact, on our IES website, there's a great historical dialogue that David Delore created documenting that conversation and the pros and cons and who agreed and who disagreed. But I think the word for us now, engineering, as a society perspective, lends itself to the technical research quality that we strive to achieve. And I think that's important to maintain as a society. As far as a mechanical engineer versus civil engineer versus lighting engineer, the engineers within the U.S. are licensed. They have a test to get that licensure, and lighting as a profession is recognized, but it's not necessarily requiring that level of licensure So I don't think that's why you hear the term lighting engineer
Mhm.
passed around. And also keep in mind, lighting, which we all know, covers science and art.
Mm-hmm.
So lighting designer for many is a much stronger term and more indicative of what they do
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of capacities. And so that's my personal take on it.
That makes sense. So we're in an exciting time. Future lighting's here. Anything else you guys want to close out on? You got your 10 o'clock coming up.
We wanted to thank both of you for
Yeah.
being here.
This is
And
actually
Get a Grip Lighting
this is
podcast.
actually
This
my
is great.
first live
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah.
So
Same
thank
with
you.
me.
Thank
It's
you for that.
it's my third. So you're you're in good company.
We're all new. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
I think this is excellent. I think it's excellent for you guys and the podcast that you guys do, which is fantastic, supporting the lighting industry.
Yeah.
It's great for us as an organization to pair with you guys and get some promotion awareness. And for all of those out there that can't make it to the conference, but want to learn more.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? It was funny because when we first started the discussions, the conversation between myself and Tom was about not cannibalizing, attendance at the convention. And I thought, yeah, we don't want to do that. And you're right. And then I was lying in my bed and I thought, I don't think that would ever happen. All this is going to do, and if you're listening to this, this is not even close to a replacement to coming here, especially with my old laptop camera there. But so you come down to the IES conference, join the IES. If you're a student, if you're a company, there's so much to learn. And it's just to talk about the positioning of the IES in the industry. It's almost like there's we saw Randy from NALMCO earlier today. Yeah. There's, NAILD, there's NALMCO, there's the ALA, there's the NCQLP. I hope I'm not missing anybody there. National Lighting Bureau, all these organizations, they're not really competitors with one another in a way. No. And above them is the IES, and they all interact with the IES in different and meaningful ways. I don't know if I put that right, but it kind of seems like the IES has an umbrella over all these groups or something.
Well, I think you see there's a lot of membership, and those that volunteer and participate are part of all these organizations,
exactly.
right? We're all collaborators. We all want what's best for the industry as a whole, and working together with one another is what's going to get us there.
And you'll also find that many of our members are also members of those other organizations that you've mentioned.
Of course, yes.
And that's part of the passion that they have for that. They want to help feed the industry through multiple ways. So I look at it as a really kind of a wide web. And all of these organizations are touch points, and we can interact back and forth between them to better based upon project initiative, content, hot topics, whatever that case.
Sure, even the educational training is not competitive. Like we do educational training for distributors. Right. And then NALMCO does it for contractors and so on and so forth. So they're really, in that sense, it's a wonderful web of education. Yeah.
We want to be proactive in bringing everyone together. And that's been a viewpoint of the board since I've started here, which is how can we be more proactive in getting everyone together, having the conversations that we need to have.
Strengthening the community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's throw the website out there because there's a lot of channels this is going out on. I think over 15 different social media platforms and YouTube channels and NAILD platform. It's on, I think it's on Innocent Report, it's YouTube and Twitter, and it's on, who else do we got?
You named a lot there.
There's a lot. Obviously your social media is going
everywhere.
out on. So we'd like to thank you guys for inviting us and having us here. And we'd also like to extend some gratitude to our patron and sponsor, Kurtzon Lighting. Go to kurtzon.com. That's KURTZON.com. Baby, kurtzon.com. We thank Andrew Koch. I think he's the president now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Andrew's the president. Thank him for sponsoring us. And we're going to sign off. Our next one is at 11 o'clock today. Eastern time. That's right. 11. I don't know how many people are up at 6. You think there's many people up at 6 over in California watching?
There's some very passionate lighting people.
Maybe.
Maybe they're on. And we'd like to thank Jennifer Jaques. This time I got it right.
Appreciate it.
You know how many times I said that to myself? It's Jennifer Jaques.
Sometimes I say it different just to throw people off.
There you
It's
go.
okay.
Yeah. Tim Licitra. Jennifer's the president of the IES, and Tim's the executive director. Thank you, Tim, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
And thank you all out there for watching and listening on YouTube. We really appreciate you taking the time. You're the most important part of this, is the person watching. So thanks very much. Bye for now.